Super. Super with a great chance. Super must make it four. He does.
The Full-Time Review Show is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And also by Craig International, a truly global company with 10 offices strategically placed around the world. The future of global procurement is right here. And welcome to ABTV Steadfast Scotland, manufacturers of high-integrity stud bolts and special fasteners, globally recognised as your market leader and solution provider for bespoke quality bolting and safety critical components. Thanks for being on board, guys. It was quite simply a disaster yesterday at Rugby Park. Who would have predicted ahead of kick-off that this would be the full-time score and that the Dons would put on that type of performance? It was quite simply unacceptable. It means this to the table. Thankfully, Rangers also shot themselves in the foot by losing away at St Mirren. But Dundee United have crept ever closer to us. We play them next, and if they beat us at Tannadice on Sunday, they will only go 3 points behind us. It's time we sorted ourselves out. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Friday evening. How are you? Are you alright? Because I've got to admit, I'm not. I'm getting impatient. I'm getting wound up. I'm getting annoyed. That performance yesterday is absolutely not what we should be putting out on a field of play. It was simply a disaster. It was appalling. It was disastrous. It was lackluster. There was no pace. There was no fight. There was no spirit. We were miles off it against what is, with the greatest respect to Kilmarnock, a very average Kilmarnock side. They battered us from the opening whistle. Andrew Budge and I will be talking about it a little bit later, and we're going to take you through 3 of the goals, and we're going to show you how comical the defending was and how it's got to be addressed and how it's got to be sorted out. Because honestly, it's getting very worrying. What is going on? Why such a huge drop in form? Why all of a sudden have we gone from a high-paced, high energy, battling for the shirt to the very last minute, to a team that looked devoid of wanting to play a game of football? We are carrying too many passengers at the moment, and it's about time some of them stood up, took a long hard look at themselves in the mirror, and whether they're going to be for the off or not, start putting in a shift. Because honestly, it's now what, 7 games without a win? And the last 2 games are just not acceptable in any way, shape or form. Yesterday, well, I've got some quotes from Jimmy Tillene. And I have to say, he looked raging after the Hibs game. But yesterday, oh my goodness. I wouldn't want to have been in that dressing room after that game yesterday. And I hope he absolutely went through them. I really do. I hope he threw things at them. He looked shocked and he looked raging. So, come on tonight, have your say, be mindful about what you say, because emotions are still running high, and we always do this after, we go through a blip, we go through bad form. Just be very mindful what you say, try not to use bad language, and please be particularly respectful of all the other folk that come on as well. That's really important, particularly now when we're all feeling a bit wound up. So let's keep it a safe haven. That's all I ask of you, please. Right, the team news. I got to be honest, I was a wee bit baffled with the team news yesterday. So Dimitar came back in. Great to see him back in. But I got to be honest, I don't think he put in a very good shift. I think he should have commanded his 6-yard box way more than he should have done. 4 changes to the side that lost to Hibs. Angus MacDonald came in for Gavin Malloy, which I was surprised about. I thought it would have been Ruby that would have been left out. I was also surprised that Nielsen and Shinnie played. Personally, I would have preferred Ante and Dante. Toppy on the right, Jamie through the middle, who I thought was, honestly, missing the whole game. Duke over on the other side, and Peter Ambrose, who huffed and puffed, but let's be honest, didn't exactly cover himself in glory. So, lots to think about with that team yesterday. Substitutions, I thought were a little bit late. I was really surprised he didn't make any changes at half time. To be honest with you, I couldn't believe what I was watching in the first half. For those of you that watched along yesterday, thank you so much, and I'm so sorry that we had to cut the production short because of the issues that I had with the equipment yesterday. But at one point, we had nearly 400 of you watching the show with me. 400, which is incredible. So thank you so much, and I really hope you enjoyed it and you can see what we're trying to do. And thank you for contributing throughout the show as well. Match stats. So, we actually enjoyed more possession, believe it or not. 53% to their 47. Only 7 shots at goal. They had 22. We only had 3 shots on target to their 8. Only 35 passes in the final third to their 89. And only 19 touches in their box compared to their 38. So that just goes to show you, we never tested their goalkeeper. We had 1 or 2 sniffs. We had 1 or 2 decent passages of play, but absolutely nowhere near what we expect. So before I get you guys on, let me take you through the analysis with Andrew Budge. So as I said at the top of the show, we've looked at the 3 goals that we've conceded. And just show you how it's schoolboy level. It really is schoolboy level. It's frightening, in fact, and it has to be addressed. So this is nearly 7 minutes long. So we've extended it because obviously there was so much more to talk about. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's not too painful to watch, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the show, Andrew Budge. Good morning, fella. Lovely to see you. Thank you for jumping on. Mate, honestly, I can't believe this. I cannot believe, once again, we've got you on to discuss another bad performance and another bad defeat. Just give us your general thoughts before we get into the analysis on basically how we played yesterday.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to think I might be the issue. I don't think since being on the show, Ali, we've had a single win, so you can point the direction at me. Yeah, I don't know where you start with that one. Just a completely unacceptable result and performance. You can accept when you lose games during the season if your performance levels drop a little bit, or you maybe just don't get a bit of luck. But that yesterday was completely uncompetitive, as Jimmy mentioned in his post-match. All over the pitch, I thought Kelly just wanted it more. I really don't like saying that, but it was just clear from the aggression and the desire that they played with that we just couldn't match that, which is a real concern for us, to be honest.
You've picked out some stats which actually tells a bigger picture that we had a very bad day at the office yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very bad day at the office, but I thought Killy, to start with, played a really clear game plan, which we didn't. They went direct, looked to play off the second balls from knockdowns from Vassell, who was tremendous. He bullied McDonald and Rubicic all day long. I think he won, yeah, it was 8 of his duels he won out of 13, which is the most of anyone in the pitch. He just bullied their 2 central defenders and won knockdowns. Their game plan was to sort of go direct, lots of switches of play, lots of crosses. It was 39 crosses in total from Kelly yesterday. Only 9 of them were successful, but that's all they needed really when you're firing that many crosses into the box, and we clearly weren't getting players close enough to stop them. That they had so many opportunities to score 22 shots. It's unbelievable that you see these sort of numbers in a game against us, but a really tough day at the office.
If we look at goal number 1, this just epitomised the issues about trying to stop crosses and where we failed.
Yeah, that was a sort of real area where we struggled yesterday, was closing down crosses. In the first example, Duke and Devlin make really half-hearted attempts to double up on Murray, who himself had 16 crosses yesterday, which is absolutely ridiculous. The two of them, they're kind of showing him down the line, but he can cuts in on his stronger right foot, so surely someone's got to get closer to him to stop him from doing that. You can see Duke and Devlin just aren't anywhere near close enough to stop the cross. It's a great ball in, but again, you can see Rubicic is drawn out of position. He seems completely, I don't know, obsessed with getting really close to one of their strikers, Bobby Wills, who's drifted out of the box. He's surely just got to pass that on to one of our central midfielders there, whether it's sort of McGrath or Shinney or Nilsson, and just hold a position in the centre of the box so he can actually impact across or make first contact. It is a brilliant cross in, and Vassell makes a good run between McDonald and Mackenzie. But again, neither of them really anticipate the danger. No one really makes I don't know, the decision to follow him or track his run. So it's a really simple goal to concede, but it's just evident that we're not getting close enough to these crosses.
I said yesterday during the watch along show that I was just flabbergasted for the second goal in particular, that we had a number of players back, but none of them made the desire like Watson did to drift in behind, score the second goal. But what worried me the most was that nobody was aware that that's what Watson was doing.
Yeah, it is honestly what a schoolboy goal that is. They've got one runner being Watson into the box. We've got about five players back, and as you said, no one anticipates the danger. Everyone is ball watching. It honestly, it beggars belief looking at the stills that we have on screen. Again, it comes from a lack of pressure on the cross. I think it's Armstrong this time who just has all the time in the world to pick a cross. We've got one runner, and I mean, fair play to David Watson. If any of our players played with that level of desire or commitment yesterday, it could have been a different story. But he makes a run from the halfway line, and no one has the responsibility or the accountability just to say that's my man and just follow him into the box. He goes past three defenders, and it's just honestly that's some of the worst some of the worst penalty box defending I think I've seen. So it's really really disappointing.
I think overall, even for the third goal, the positioning is starting to become an issue for us, isn't it? And we're getting punished for it.
Yeah, we really are. We've seen even from yesterday both McDonald and Rubicic being out of position. The distances between the two of them are huge. I guess they've not played much together, so it might be difficult to get a bit more of an understanding of how each other plays. But I think some of these are really sort of defensive fundamentals that shouldn't really need to be coached, sort of minimising the distances between your two centre halves. I think both of them should know this just from their own experience. McDonald in particular is a experienced central defender. In the third goal, you can see Rubicic is again too high. He's focused on someone dropping deep, and he's trying to follow them out as he frequently does, and doesn't appear to be learning from this. There's a huge gap between the two of them, and it's just one ball in behind again that we're not able to deal with just because both our defenders are out of position. It's really frustrating.
Right, fella, just to finish off, I think it's quite fair to say that many were surprised by Yimmy's starting 11 yesterday. I must admit, it caught me by surprise. It's the first time that, who am I to question it? But I questioned it. Do we expect, again, wholesale changes for the Dundee United game on Sunday?
I really do hope so, particularly in the central of midfield, our centre of midfield, because I just don't think we've got the energy to deal with some opponents right now. Nilsson and Shinney have got their advantages, but I do think we just need to freshen up the midfield in particular. I think Clarkson, although he made the mistake against Hibs the other week, I think he's been quite good overall in the past couple of games. He's had a couple of goals against Hearts, St Johnstone, the assist for the goal in Hibs. I would like to see a bit more freshening up. Defence, I don't know where we go now after that, to be honest, but I certainly would like to see some changes in midfield.
All right, mate. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to see you as always, and enjoy your next couple of days. And we'll see you again very soon after the Dundee United game.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you, fella.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Andrew. The manager. Our performance today is not acceptable, not good enough. We have to compete much, much more against them. You can draw games, you can lose games, but not in the way we did today. This effort is not good enough. Right now, we need to stick together and come back with a much better effort than we have done now. No one can hide. We have to keep the head high and go out again and compete. There's no other way. No one else will do it for us. It's us, me, the staff, the players. We have to stick together and show much more energy and belief. He's right. We have to stick together. It's so tough at the moment. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It's winding everybody up. But we have to stick together. As hard as it is, we have to keep backing them. Patience is running thin. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I'm not preaching to the converted. But we need to stick together somehow. Somehow. Right. Where's my bins? I'm going to open it up. Okay. The music cat came on first and said, stay humble. Yes, we were well humbled. Kaiser says, oh dear, where do we start with that? Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. We were poor yesterday, probably the worst we've played all season, but we're still a work in progress and we're in a lot better place than before, so we have to get behind the team. Paul Donaldson has said, good evening, Dandies. We always struggle playing on plastic pitches, but yesterday was the worst I've seen yet. Players slipping and falling over during the whole match and far too many overhit passes. Adam Stewart says, the last few weeks, the whole side has just looked flat and non-threatening. Not sure what's happened, but hopefully this result will be the kick up the backside that we need. He came back to say, we have to turn things around quickly, as a loss on Sunday will see United, as we said, only 3 points behind us. Cammy Fraser's been on. Cammy's not happy. What's happened to the energy in the team, the high press, etc.? When I saw Shinnie and Nielsen listed in the team yesterday, I knew we were doomed. If the midfield make up the same at Tannadice, we'll get stuff there too. He also says, can anyone explain to me the point of the Palaversa signing and why he's not playing? Cammy also says, McGrath and McKenzie have checked out. They clearly have got offers, all but agreed to go. Gavin Wilson says, I'd like to marvel at the away support who could even be heard at 4-0 down singing. The fans are doing their part, turning up home and away and financially. The team didn't play as a team. Cammy came back to say, very, very sad to see Shinnie toiling badly and doing that falling over trick that he normally gets away with after he's driven up a blind alley. Time has caught up with him. Right. So we have one or two idiots on tonight, unfortunately. Let me see if I can get rid of them. How do I get rid of them? Right, let me remove that. Some people seriously need to grow up. Okay, sorry guys, I just have to sort out a couple of idiots that have come on here. Kaiser said that unfortunately Angus MacDonald yesterday was absolutely abysmal. Adam Stewart said, to be fair, it's not that long ago that we were all praising Shinnie's form and lauding Nielsen as an inspired signing. The whole team looks flat. Ewan Sutherland said, yesterday was as bad as anything under Robson and Glass and almost as bad as the worst under Goodwin. The contract rebel duo were absolutely pathetic. Colin Gale has said, all the players out of contract not pulling their weight. Are Shinnie and Nielsen running on empty tanks? What is behind Palaversa's underuse? Is there something affecting the dressing room? Sousa said, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas no matter what. Who we keeping? Who we signing? Stuart Malcolm said, that was a very painful watch. I genuinely don't know how this is going to work out. Fingers crossed we can turn it around on Sunday. Kirstine is on. How are we doing, Kirstine? She said, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Totally unacceptable performance yesterday. What has happened to this team? Dave Sharp is wishing everyone a good evening. Just finished the week from hell at work. To be greeted with this was not good. This is now a repeating pattern with these players. Many of them just can't cope with levels of expectation. Kaiser is suggesting that we need to get rid of McKenzie, McGrath, Duke and McDonald. No commitment from any of them. Paul Hannon is here. Hi, Paul. He's wishing everyone a good evening, and he's hoping that everyone had a good Christmas. We really need to shake things up. Apart from the Dundee game, we've been really bad since the semi-final. Fred McKenzie's here wishing everyone a good evening. As is transmission GGB. I can't take it anymore if United beat us. Major changes needed. I've always said we're too soft and we're getting bullied in every game now. John Grant said it's pretty simple. If we defend like we have recently and failing to attack and get shots on target, we're losing the game. The subs we take on have weakened the team too, which is really worrying. Sheep on Fire says Ambrose needs to go, Nielsen needs rested, and the guys who aren't willing to sign new contracts need to be benched. Kilted Warrior is saying good evening to everybody. Rubicic, Kaiser's mentioning, said he was absolutely awful yesterday, never won one header. Neil Strachan is on. It's Neil's birthday tomorrow, so wishing you a happy birthday for tomorrow, mate. He's hoping we get back to winning ways against Dundee United. Graham Klein says, feel too many looking at the exit rather than the horizon, I'm afraid. Brutal the form that we are now in. Raymond Steele has a simple question. What's happened? Paul Hannon, he's making a very good point, which I think we're all thinking about now. It's about time Yimmy bench some of these players that are constant starters and play those that are on the bench currently. A few of you here are just talking about, bring back some of the youngsters. Get some of the young lads in. Give them a chance. Billy Johnson is Johnson. Hi, Billy. Could I have a shout out to Evan Moncrief, who is at present walking from Pittodrie to Tannadice in time for Sunday's game in aid of the AFC Community Trust. Oh, that's absolutely sensational. What an effort. So Evan, the very best of luck to you, mate, and absolutely tipping my hat to you. And I really hope on Sunday, when you get to the game, that you've got something to cheer about. That's absolutely phenomenal. Thanks, Billy, for posting. John Dorward is here saying, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Let's stick together through thick and thin. Can't be bothered says, Yimmy was close to chinning Rob McLean yesterday. So many of you are just talking about Ruby. Oh, dear. I have to admit, I don't understand why he started. I thought Gavin Malloy should have started. Graham Gibbs says, I don't think Talene looked angry. Don't think he does angry, just looks shocked. Paul Donaldson is asking, did anyone get any pass marks yesterday? He's suggesting that maybe Toppy did. El Fidelo, thanks for making that point, which we brought up in the analysis about the 8 Dons box in the player, including Mittoff, one Kilmarnock player who scored, absolutely abysmal defending. John Grant says the whole defence looked like schoolboys, even simple things like leaving Killie 2 players unmarked to take a corner. Gary Robertson says, on a more positive note, yes, we were terrible, but look where we are in the league. It's time to drop players who are running down their contracts. Also in our defence, Rugby Park isn't fit for football. Dave B says, I'm not sure what's going on. I think JT got what I expected from his team choice. Ruby should have gone for McDonald. Ante and Dante should have been in midfield with Leighton Clarkson in place of McGrath. I tell you, I'm going to put my team together tomorrow night for the preview show ahead of the Dundee United game, and I'm ringing the changes. I'm absolutely ringing the changes again. Robbie Hanratty's here. Hi Robbie, how are you fella? Not going to lie, there were multiple red flags in our performance way before this losing run. Shows how fragile our squad is and how quickly luck, momentum can shift. Scott Bowie says, this team just reverted to most of last season's performances at the moment. Really can't see an improvement for Sunday. United, I hate to say it, are playing well under Goodwin. Andy B says it's another good point, and again, many of you, particularly on my socials, have commented about this, that out of contract players being made the complete scapegoats for a system that's so easy to play against. Every team now knows the system we play. It's a good point. Barry Cools here. Hi Barry, says, evening dandies. We've gone from buzzing to depression again. Far too much to discuss. Transmission GGB says, Jimmy has changed the way he uses his subs and is taking more time to change players like yesterday and the home game against Hibs. Jimmy is changing things, players are not. Doug Smith says, managers and players happy to take plaudits, but they must now accept criticism, especially against Kilmarnock. It's the worst I've seen. Ruby is the weak link, and for weeks he's been spreading fear and uncertainty. Barry Cole says, we need a set striker. The chopping and changing is not helping. I agree. Do you know what we need? We need a recognised striker. West Coast Dawn said, Ambrose on from the start. It's baffling. Nielsen and Shinnie are well off the boil. Yet we have younger legs who could start. Hope we have a solid January transfer window. David Gold Rally Vids is here wishing everybody a good evening. Cammy Fraser said, wonder if the rumours of this Latvian central defenders are true, and isn't this multinational team makeup causing communication and social issues? I wouldn't think so, mate. Football is a universal language, but I see what you're saying, I get it. Dave B said that he would have given Duke pass marks as well as Keskinen. Graham Gibbs says, Kilmarnock managed to play at Rugby Park. Not a day for hitting balls behind their defence with a plastic pitch that was wet. Kept trying it and it was not working. I was getting frustrated at that yesterday, that we kept pumping the ball up the top. Time and time again, it went over the heads. David Gold Rally Vid says, I said a couple of weeks ago that teams have worked out how to play against us. Yemi needs other ideas. Richard Wilkinson's here. Hi Richard, how you doing, big man? He says, happy Christmas, chaps. Late to the party. Here's to a better 2025. Stand free, he says. Julie McKenzie says, evening dandies. It's the clear lack of passion and effort that's doing my head in. If players don't want to turn up, then it's time for the door. Bruce Struthers says, Keskinen looked really frustrated when hooked. He was the only Dons player that looked dangerous at all. Alan George said that he couldn't bring himself to watch the highlights. Got tickets for the Ross County and Hearts games. Kaiser's asking, can anyone see us beating United? Because he can't. Chick Sampson says, how long before the manager's head is called for? I do not think he will see his 3-year plan out. You see, I have to be honest, Chick. I think, honestly, and forgive me for being so forthright, but I think it's a nonsense that some folk are already suggesting that we should be calling for his head. It's just, really, you know, what are we doing by doing that? What are we achieving by doing that? You know, he's got to come in. He's got to stamp his own authority. He's got to be able to assess the squad. He's got to be given time. Time is key here. We're going to go through ups and downs. We're going to have bumps in the road. Of course we are. But by just getting rid of the manager just because we're going on a bad run, that's going to do nothing. It's going to cause more problems. We cannot keep chopping and changing managers. And there comes a time you mustn't just question the manager. Because if you think about it, a lot of these players he inherited. You've got to start questioning the players as well. I'm with a lot of you that think that teams have now sussed us out, because we have played the same formation and the same tactics for a number of weeks. And it's time to start chopping and changing, I think. So, but calling for the manager's head now is, nah. Barry Cole says, JT changes the wingers, strikers, attacking midfielders regularly, rarely changes defence or defensive midfield. John Dorwood says, I understand the Peliversa issue is that he's not committed to signing the extension. JT mentioned that he needs to show he wants to remain at Aberdeen beyond his current contract. It's a good point, actually. Simon Roy says, the defence is shocking, to be honest. I'm glad we're not playing European football. We have no energy in the team and we look disjointed. You know, Barry's reminding everyone that Pape will be back in the middle of next month. Camby says, 2 million a year spent on the youth academy and yet nobody to replace a clearly injured Devlin from the under-18s. That's a disgrace. That's what I'm worried about. At the moment, we have absolutely no cover at fullback. None. Unless you stick Jimmy McGarry in at right back, which is his unnatural position. Graham Gibb is saying, cannot be Nielsen and Shinnie again in midfield with an anonymous McGrath. Please change it, Yimmy. Scott Bowie says, we need to start giving youth a chance in the squad. Even if it's in the squad. Jason Campbell said, need committed players and refusing to extend your contract is not committed. It will be demoralising sitting on the bench while non-committed players are selected ahead of me on a losing run. Me as in a player sitting on the bench. Sheep on Fire says, Jimmy needs time to get his own players in. You've got to remember that most of the players in the team are the same of last season. Can't be bothered suggesting maybe Angus MacDonald could play at right back. David Gold says Palaversa may be a luxury that we can't afford. Yeah, maybe. Right, guys, just before we finish off, because we've done over half an hour, don't forget to like the show tonight if you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all your comments as always. And don't forget to subscribe. You know, we're sitting at a very high percentage of those of you who actually watch but don't subscribe. It's still up sort of in the high 70s. So it's like 77.5% of you who watch the show don't actually subscribe to the channel. So don't forget, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just like following on Facebook and following on X, whatever you want to call it these days. So I'd be absolutely thrilled if you wouldn't mind considering it so that you can see what we're trying to do on the channel as we develop and as we grow. So guys, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being respectful. I'm sorry that a couple of Muppets came on tonight. We will be back for a preview show ahead of the Dundee United game on Sunday. So we're going to come back again tomorrow, same time, 19:03, and I'm going to be talking to Michael Grant, from the Times, football correspondent from the Times newspaper. So Michael and I are going to be having a chat about the Dons' woes, and I'm also going to ask him a couple of questions about, you know, what he knows and what his peers know about any sort of transfer speculation surrounding the club at the moment. So I'm going to be talking to him late afternoon, and I'll bring that to you in the preview show tomorrow night. So enjoy the rest of your evening, enjoy your day tomorrow, and I'll see you again 19:03. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Stand free.